Well, thank you for joining me in this talk. Thank you so much. And
Thank you too.
um, so I think we can start with talking about the Apollon, the piece
Apollon.
on the city, strings and hymns.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I have the score.
Great. Yeah.
And
Um,
so
so can you tell us about how you came up with this piece and what is behind this piece?
yes, as you probably know, I must say that you are. I can consider you as one of the um, best performer. My yes, because of my music, because you interpreted many of my work as, for example, my four pieces for piano, or my portrait of Core, Ritratto di Core, for your ensemble strings and hammers. And so you remember that for me, the world of the Mediterranean culture and history, in particular Italy and Greece, my beloved countries, has been always important for my inspiration. And so when we were talking about a new project for percussion ensemble and piano, this idea grown up in my mind, thinking about the possibility, the occasion to an interesting dialogue between the modern piano and the percussion instruments, considering them as an orchestra, really something that creates a sensation of a concerto between a drama, between a relationship a war, a dance between piano and percussion instruments. Percussion instruments are the first kind of ancient instruments were played in Mediterranean area in Greece, and so in particularly the pure percussion instruments like bongos, non-pitched instruments, for me reminds the idea of number, of mathematics, of division of rhythm, of time, and so the god of this mathematics is certainly is Apollon. Apollo is the god of the beautiness of the, but also of the equilibrium of the harmony. And so I decided to write a long piece because Apollon is, I remember, 15 and more minutes long. That want to be an ideal portrait of this Greek ancient divinity. And so, um, if you want to tell me, ask me something again, more?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And so,
yeah.
Tell them, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead if you have more.
No, yes, and so I started to think about, in particular, I loved to write this piece for you. I didn't know Bob McCormick personally, but you explained, you told me many things about him, about his group, about this energy, this enthusiasm that he uh, put in his work with the students. And you, in particular, I appreciated your talent to interpret to came in a very intricate, complicated scores with a lot of many notes, many things to remember, and so I started to think about a piece very complex, very rich, with a piano part really full of things to consider, to study. And so when I arrived in Florida last year, it was very enthusiastic for me. Enthusiasm. It gave me a lot of enthusiasm to see that you and everyone in the group had totally absorbed, totally understood my work. Sometime Robert McCormick during the rehearsal stopped his group, asking me, Alessandro, there is something you want to say, and really sometimes I had nothing to say because everything looked perfect.
Oh,
My idea was really completely represented in your group. Um, and so this piece is composed in three different parts. The first is like an invocation before the oracle, inspired by the place, very famous place in Greece, Delphi, it was the ancient oracle. It sounds like really an invocation, something to who starts to come off on the ground, very dark, who step by step enlightening and grows up. The second part is I like everything in this piece, but probably the second part, Logos, is really the part who best represent my idea of the Greek divinity, of the concept I told about mathematics, about the power and the violence of the number, because this rhythm are really ferocious in some moments, and piano has a part really hard for me. I think I see when you play, because you have to you continuously give answers to the other instruments that propose you uh, very speedy, very fast, um, incipit rhythmic, and you have to answer like a dialogue between the god and humans. Uh, and then the third part is the final reconciliation in beautiness, in the fight, like such a philosophical contemplation of the god, ecstasies. This is the piece. Okay.
it, yeah, I love the piece and playing the piece, and the ensemble enjoyed a lot.
Yes.
It's just really beautifully written and perfectly written for the ensemble. And so I want to share a picture really quick. It's actually one of my favorite pictures. I don't remember who took this,
Yes.
but I think it's just a nice picture. It was from the recording session. Uh,
Recording session. Yes, I remember. I well remember
yeah,
in this beautiful theater recording studio.
yeah, at the Springs Theater. So it was really fun, nice memory to me, especially right now that we just cannot be together.
Yeah.
Um, and you talked about working with the ensemble a little bit, but maybe because this was your first time working with the McCormick percussion group, um, and you have worked with other percussion.
Yes, of course.
So,
Yes, in Italy, I had many beautiful experience with other percussion groups. One of these is the Tetractis group. They are four percussion players, and I wrote for them many years ago a symphony for percussion instruments, inspired for the history of the town of Perugia, the Sinfonie Perusine. And after that, I collaborated with them for other projects, and one of these was a small, very short piece entitled Ritual, only for tamburi, only for bongos, tom-toms, for non-pitched instruments that was recorded and appeared in a CD. Uh, and probably I thought about these pieces also when I starting to work to Apollon, because it was very short, this other piece, this ritual, but contained the idea of a game, such a game, a battle, a fighting between the various instruments. Um, and so, but in this case, I must say that this was a totally different experience. First of all, because the Italian percussion group is a professional group, and they are not students. but I must say that the Robert McCormick students, pupils, are really to be considered as a professional in the important part of their career, because their way to relation with me, with the situation of the piece, was really completely enthusiastic, completely really serious, really precise. um, and so and more of this in my piece, the new was the presence of piano that changed everything, obviously.
thank you.
Yes. And so now I would like to ask you, as a pianist, as an interpreter, how do you think about my piano writing style? How do what do you what did you think when you received for the first time my crazy score full of notes? Oh my God!
Um,
What your way to study and to memorize all this quantity of things?
uh, well, I think I knew um, correctly that you are also a pianist, right? You play
Yes, yes.
the
I
instrument.
know. I know what I'm writing for piano. I know that. I
Yeah, and I could tell because I mean it's not easy, and there are a lot of things. It's dense, um, but I could tell because it's so idiomatic to piano writing, and it just really beautifully lies on the instrument. Um, and I can tell that you know how to make this instrument sound um, beautiful and colorful. Um, so it was hard in the beginning to learn all the notes and the rhythms, but after that I really loved playing, loved and enjoyed playing very much. It's like,
I'm so happy for that,
oh,
and I can assure you that it it's it can be under you can understand this hearing the recording. It passes through the music your enthusiasm.
thank you. Really like, you learn Chopin's piece over Rachmaninoff, and people talk about Rachmaninoff a lot, how difficult it is, but um, you are also a pianist, so once you learn the piece, you really enjoy playing Rachmaninoff. It's so rewarding to play because it just produced such beautiful, rich sound. So that's how I felt, and that's I think why I enjoyed it so much. And I kept telling you when you came, and I think here and even before, that I love your piece so much. Um, and I think it's because of that that it just had such a rich sound, um, from the piano. And
It was not easy. It has been for me also a great challenge because, in fact, you know that it was the first time for me to imagine an equilibrium between so strange new kind of ensemble and the piano. In my mind, for my culture as a composer, I know very well the sound of piano with orchestra, classic orchestra, or wind instruments. I can think about. I can imagine. In this case, I had to do a double effort to imagine because the first risk was to the power of in percussion can um, cover your sound to and so probably in some part of this piece it happens, I must confess, but not at the point to write again the piece. It's okay, but in other part I was very satisfied about my work because I tried to avoid this risk that the dialogue between piano and other instruments is really nice. Really, it works.
yeah, I agree that I think
Mm.
if you listen to the recording, that definitely there's a conversation between the solo piano and the percussion ensemble, and
Mm.
I
In
like.
in the studio, in the recording studio, I remember it was really different. Um, um, from the music hall at university because the sound was very even though the studio is very wide, the sounds was concentrated in this location,
Yeah,
not in the big concert hall. It sounds very good, but sometimes I noticed that it was very hard for you to rehearsal to record many times this the same piece because after 10 minutes with bongos at the left and xylophone at the
uh,
other.
yeah, but I mean it worked, and I loved the fact that how my sound kind of comes out of this percussion ensemble. So sometimes I feel like I'm really part of them, um, but then I could be also independent, and I can
Mm,
have this kind of equal um, conversation
yeah.
partnership. So yeah, no, I think it's once again it's written perfectly, and we really enjoyed it. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Um, my next question is, what can audience expect from this particular album, and what can they enjoy out of this CD?
What audience expect? Ah, it's hard to say. I don't know. I think that I'm sure that it's a very particular project. But I think that the presence of percussion and sound can interest a wider range of people than classic contemporary music, for example. Because I know that many young people, or for example, people not completely involved in contemporary music, when they hear percussion and sound, something happens. There's something who reminds them the pop music, for example, something easier than the classical sound of, for example, strings instruments playing contemporary music. That sometimes so they sound hard, difficult. In percussion, it can be a highway to to conduct a wider public to know contemporary music, and I hope this for our CD, your CD. Um, and for this, I must say that your project with Bob McCormick and his group, um, that you did also in the past CD, and I hope it can continue in the future with other. Why not? It's really remarkable project, because it's good for you. It's good for us composers, and so also for public, for to demonstrate that to a wider public or a wider audience, uh, that contemporary music can be not only intellectual experience but very physical experience.
Thank you. What's your next project, or what project are you working on?
Talking now about uh, of next project in this sad era of COVID, is very hard. But I'm working on a really beautiful and great project which is a stage opera based on a 18th century libretto of a very famous librettist in Italy, Italian librettist on the same era of the Ponte of Mozart. Um, uh, my idea is to compose a new opera with the language, musical language of this century, but re-elaborated by me, but really respectful with this language, because I love very much Mozart operas, Haydn, small, they are really small jewels of music. And this is for a small orchestra. And I'm thinking about a small orchestra of Baroque instruments with copies of instruments and play with Baroque techniques. Um, and this, it will be a great challenge. Now, now it's impossible to think about when the timing, because it's really hard to to create a public occasion to work together, to rehearsal with singers. You know, you can imagine it now. I don't know, really, I don't know. I don't know if in Italy next season, next public concert season will be opened or not. I hope yes. I hope because, but this strange situation give me the opportunity to work without any schedules, without any deadline, concentrating only on my works. We hope the best for the future. For this, I think that in fact the working with the instruments, percussion instruments, I was thinking about this 1 hour before our meetings. For you, it's very good because naturally, I remember the stage. You remember when we were rehearsing. Normally, uh, percussion instruments, percussion players need a lot of space between them, and so it didn't create any problem of the problem of COVID or contagion.
Social distancing. Social distancing naturally happens. Yeah. Um, yeah.
And so let's I hope stay safe, stay well. We hope that after summer, we hope to start again playing music. Something will change, probably the distance between the players, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's coming out July 10th. Um, and do you have anything else you would like to add or you would like to say?
I have to say that my felicitation and my warmest compliment to every composer present in this CD, because when we were in Tampa next year, I met Eduardo Costa and Emily Cole. I don't know other composers, but I'm sure that also their pieces would be very beautiful, very interesting, well played, well performed, and so my best wishes for to you and to everything, to Bob, to Robert McCormick, to the percussion players for the great success of this CD.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.